welcome to the Epic Sales Podcast with Dave Ingland, a show created for automotive sales professionals that want to supercharge their results and still live a happy life. Get ready to hear some new things that will help you get ready to crush your goals. And now, here's your host, Dave Ingland.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Epic Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Ingland. When I talk about empathetic listening, most people tend to get it confused with the word sympathetic. And empathetic and sympathetic are definitely two different things. Being sympathetic is when someone is imagining how you feel, and being empathetic is when someone understands how you feel. Being empathetic when you're listening to your prospects is very, very important, and it allows you to understand what it is that they actually need, and it helps you avoid a lot of objections. So empathetic listening is about more than just hearing words. It's about understanding the emotions and intentions behind those words. In car sales, this skill is fundamental. In Always Be Listening, the book that I just wrote about this topic, it emphasizes that when you listen empathetically, you create a space where buyers feel understood and valued. This builds trust, which is essential for making a sale. Why is empathetic listening so powerful in car sales? It's because it helps you ask the right questions. Good questions uncover the buyer's true needs and desires, which allows you to present a value proposition that resonates deeply with your prospect. For instance, if a prospect mentions that they need a reliable car for their long daily commute, you can follow up with, "Can you tell me more about the features you consider essential for a comfortable commute?" This shows that you are not just selling a car, but solving a problem that they care about. Little tips from my book, Always Be Listening, that you can use to enhance your empathetic listening skills. The first is to be fully present. And what I mean by that is to put away distractions and focus entirely on the buyer. This means maintaining eye contact, nodding, and giving verbal affirmations like, "I see," or "that makes sense." The second thing is to ask open-ended questions, to share more by asking questions that require more than a yes or no answer. For example, what features are most important to you in a new car? Third is reflect and clarify. Repeat back what the prospect has said in your own words to ensure understanding. For instance, "So you're looking for a car that's both fuel efficient and spacious enough for your family, correct?" The last one is to validate their emotions. Acknowledge the prospect's feelings and concerns. Say things like, "I understand why that would be important to you," or "It sounds like this is a key factor in your decision." So put it into a real world scenario. Imagine you're working with a prospect who is looking for a reliable SUV for the growing family. By empathetically listening, you learn that safety and space are their top priorities. Instead of immediately showcasing the most expensive models, you ask, "What specific safety features are you looking for to ensure your family's security?" This question, rooted in empathetic listening, not only shows that you understand their priorities, but also guides the conversation towards models that meet those needs. Empathetic listening also helps in overcoming objections. When buyers feel heard and understood, they are less likely to raise objections. And if they do, those objections are easier to address because you've built a foundation of trust. For instance, if a prospect is concerned about the price, you might say, "I hear that budget is a concern for you. Can you share more about your budget constraints?" This not only acknowledges their concern, but also opens the door to discuss financing options or highlighting the long-term value of the car. Make sure that when you're speaking to somebody that you do so from a perspective of being in their shoes, which is the empathetic part of listening. Be active in your listening. Make sure that you're nodding your head, you're repeating back to your prospect what you're hearing so that they know that they're being heard. The most important thing that we as salespeople miss is that we tend to speak and then we listen for an opportunity to respond back with something. We're waiting for an objection that we can overcome. We're waiting for them to ask a question that we have the answer for. But instead of listening for those things, we need to listen to find out what the customer's situation is, what their needs are, what their problem is, and what we can do to help them with a solution. Because the value isn't in just having the cheapest price in the market. The value is in making sure that you have something that fits their needs and that you specifically can help them because you care about what it is that they want to accomplish, rather than just saying, I know you're here for this vehicle because this is the one you asked me for. And I know that we have the best price in the marketplace. So we're just going to move forward as if it's a deal. We don't want to be in that position where we feel like the customer comes in and whatever it is they tell us is what they're going to go home in. Because time and time again, I've found, as well as I know you found, that if a buyer sends a lead and they're asking for a specific model, trim, or color, that when they come in and start looking at the vehicles you have, they'll go home in something completely different. So we have to be open to understanding what they need, not necessarily what they want, and asking questions to uncover that need rather than just making assumptions that because they gave us information on a specific car, model, trim, color, whatever it happens to be, that's the only thing they're interested in. That's when you're doing your prospects the service that they're looking for. Because otherwise, if they knew exactly what they wanted, they would just buy a vehicle from you online. Very rarely in this day and age do prospective customers actually use our websites to make purchases. 99% of the times they come into the store, they want to put a face to the person that they're talking to or texting with, and they want to make sure that they have support in moving forward with something that's the best decision for them. And the only way to overcome those and not worry about getting objections is to make sure that when you're listening, you're doing so from a perspective of empathy.
Thank you so much for listening to the Epic Sales Podcast. We invite you to be part of the nationwide community of automotive sales professionals that we are building over at daveengland.com, where we also host a blog and have the show's merch available for sale.
Thanks again for listening, and make sure to subscribe.
And now, go crush your goals.